everybody. Want to welcome you to Best Whole New World, and we have the lovely Melody Chatamoya from Ireland with us. Actually, Melody, you're hiding behind your name tag a little. There you are. Now I can see your beautiful face. And, and myself, Jacqueline Best, here in Canada, and we're talking today about rising to love through disagreements and disagreements. That's all I can think of.
Conflict.
And conflict, yes. Yes, disagreements start out small and conflict becomes bigger. Maybe that's why I got stuck on disagreements.
Yeah.
But this is obviously going to be a great topic of conversation. I hope you've all been following along. Maybe you haven't started the Opening Your Heart series, and that is a great one to start to really open yourself up to the possibilities of loving yourself and finding your love mate. And that's where we've begun. And so, Melody, it's so good for you to be with us.
Thanks, Jacqueline. It's good to be with you.
So, in rising to love through conflicts and disagreements.
Yeah.
Is that like we're always supposed to turn the other cheek?
Oh, no. It doesn't mean that at all.
Okay.
Of course. What does it mean? It means that you need to understand why you are having the conflict. Where is the conflict coming from? Why are you having the disagreement? Is it because you were raised differently from the other person? Or is it because you want to be right? So, yeah.
Okay, I think you better say that again because, for those of us who want to be right, like me, I already forgot what the first part was that I was probably supposed to listen to because it's about being right.
Okay. Is it because you were raised differently? So it's just that he does things differently from you.
Okay.
And it just feels unfamiliar and uncomfortable for you. So you argue. Or is it because you want to be right? And having disagreements is normal. It's a normal part of having a relationship. It's abnormal. Well, I think it's abnormal not to have arguments at all. Because usually it means both of you don't really care. But when I started dating Taurai, we went through 2 years without having a fight at all, without having a disagreement that was significant.
Uh-huh.
And I started to worry because I love to win, and I don't back down from an argument no matter what.
Okay.
And as well, sometimes I use very strong language to express myself. I don't swear. I never swear. But I can be very emotionally charged when I'm pushing my angle. And so I worried that if we ever had a fight, he was going to break up with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I instigated a fight. I can't remember what it was about, but I know I intended for it to happen, and it did. And we survived it. Barely. We survived it. We didn't break up. And I gave him 10 points for that. But the point I'm trying to make is, you see, as you have disagreements, as you have conflict, it's very important to stop and reflect. Maybe not necessarily during the argument,
right,
but sometimes even during. I love the idea of saying time out and walking away from it, and then reflecting to think, why is this triggering me? Why is this so important to me?
Really?
Yeah.
See, I can see the value of that, but in the past, I'd be like, don't you be walking away from me now. There's no because that would be the situation is like, let's just recharge and regroup here and now. You don't need to take some time to think about this one or spend days because I want it resolved now.
No, you don't want to resolve it. You want to win it now.
Okay.
Big difference. You want him to say, right, babe, you are right, and I'm giving up.
No, that wasn't exactly that wasn't totally satisfying, because if somebody says to me, yeah, you're right, babe, like that, I'd be like, no, they don't really mean it. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So there has to be more contentious. There has to be some more things going on. And then he could say, okay, you're right. But if he does that, if he did that all on his own, I wouldn't get to see the process. That would be my thinking in the past. Be like, don't go away and think about this. I want to see how you can work your way around and come back to the conclusion that I'm right.
Knowing and understanding that men have got much less words than us to express themselves, he probably was walking away because emotionally he's feeling cornered and angry, and he's worried that he is going to react in a way that's not going to be safe for you. So he walks away. Yeah. Because what happens when you get cornered? You fight.
Right.
Yeah. So men usually, when you see a man turning around and walking away, he has realized he's not going to win, and nobody's going to listen to his point of view. And he's feeling cornered.
Okay.
And because he's cornered, he has to walk away. He has to walk away for your sake.
Okay, that's a new way to reframe it.
Yeah.
So
because despite all this, he's trying to protect you.
Right. That's what I was going to say. So that's his protective mechanism that comes out. And he's like, I can feel myself wanting to either lash out, and that's not going to be good, or give her the answer she doesn't want, or I'm conflicted. So at this point, it's better for me to take a step back. So I protect her from my reaction, and I don't have to be busy apologizing for the next year for what I did.
Yes. And what do women do? Don't you walk away from me. Come back here and let's finish it now. And yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And it doesn't work, okay? It just doesn't. It doesn't help you. And you're also trying to make him into you. You want him to see the world your way. Part of the things part of what I do sometimes is I put myself in their shoes, whoever I'm arguing with. And I put myself in their shoes and try to see it from their point of view. Why are they feeling so strongly about this? What's behind all this? Why is this so important?
Oh, that's an because I can see, or I know that I do that with my clients in the sense of where they're in the sense, or my kids. I go, I think I have an idea where you're coming from. I never say that I know, because nobody ever knows what anybody's going through, right? But I can have some compassion for it. But I think with a significant other person in my life, like my husband's, there was no room for me to think of what they exactly needed. It was a story I made up about what they might needed, which still served my purpose.
I didn't need to say that. You did. Yeah. So arguments are just different versions of seeing things or situations.
So if somebody doesn't want to argue with you, if they don't want to argue with you, is that like some sort of sign?
That depends.
Okay.
Usually they don't want to argue with you because they don't see the point in arguing with you. And maybe because you already have a pattern or a history where you are going to go or teary or emotional or aggressive, and they don't want to go there with you.
Okay.
So it depends. Like I remember we were fighting. We had a fight during the bad time of my marriage. We were having a fight, and I used to get so frustrated and I'd start crying.
Right.
And this ended the argument every time. But I didn't see the pattern. He did. And he would come, apologize, give me a hug and all that. And then one day he said, do you know what? This is very unfair. And I said, what do you mean it's unfair? Because I can't bear to see you crying. So when you cry, I have to give in. I have to say, okay, fine, let's do it the way you want to do it. Even though I feel very strongly that I shouldn't do it that way. Crying is emotional blackmail. That's what you're doing to me. And I was so grateful to him for telling me this, because I didn't realize that's what I was doing. And I didn't cry because I was intending to emotionally blackmail him and emasculate him in the process. I just would be so frustrated because it was like talking to a wall. But from that day, to be fair, I never cried during an argument again. Okay. I would walk away. I would go into the bathroom. If I needed to cry, close the door and just say, you know what, let's stop this now. Let's stop talking about this. Let's find something else to talk about, or move on to other things, or time out, or whatever. Or you go your way, I go my way. I'm going out to my friends, and I'll go out to my friends just to have that distance and to chill out. It doesn't mean I would go and talk to my friends about it.
Right.
Because if I did that, I would be adding to the fire. By the time I got back from my friends, I'll be even more angry. I just went hang with my friends and we laugh, and I come back home. I'm more chilled. And then I'm more reasonable to talk to, and he's more reasonable to talk to because he's not feeling cornered anymore. Right. And we now start to look at what is our intention? What are we trying to achieve? Mm-hmm. What is this argument about? What outcome do we exactly want or need?
Right.
Because that's all that matters, the outcome.
Very, very good. And being Canadian, mm-hmm. I all of a sudden saw it as a hockey game. And so when two players, they just get a little chirpy or chippy and they want to drop their gloves, or when one slashes out of the other, they have to go sit in the penalty box for 2 minutes. Right? And the whole idea is they need a timeout to chill, regroup. Sometimes they get 5 minutes, occasionally 10 minutes if they're like just lost it. Sometimes a game misconduct. But, it's like a guy needs to have that break to cool down. Right? Yes. And if we're honest, women, we tend to get emotionally riled the same way. We might not be lashing out and punching like in hockey or slashing, but we're lashing with our emotions and our words. But really, our emotional body is saying, how dare you treat me like this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and we need that timeout. Okay.
And as well, we tend to bring other things into our arguments. We tend to bring other crimes that have been committed before into this argument.
Hold on, let me get the bag. You mean all that stuff from the past that we're carrying still?
Yeah. We'll bring it all in because we are making our point and we are trying to say, you are wrong, I am right. Do you remember when you did such and such and such? And you remember when you did such and such? And you let me down and such and such and blah, 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 blah. And the bag keeps growing bigger and bigger. And he's like, hang on a minute. I thought we were talking about this.
Right.
When did we go back 10 years? When did we do that? Did I just have a time warp or something? What's going on? He's now lost because he doesn't even know what's going on anymore.
Right.
And
go ahead.
And you've lost the argument.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you take a time out, how much of a timeout, right? Because here we're talking about we don't want to bring up too much of the past. But so when you take a time out and you go to your friends or you chill or you go to the washroom or whatever, is it like the next time you come together, you want to address the issue? Or do you sweep it under the carpet and say, you know what, now that I've thought about it, I don't need to talk to him about it, and then you don't do it, but then the next time it shows up, then you bring in your bag with you?
You never sweep anything under the carpet.
Okay.
Ever. Because that starts to build resentment. And you know what happens? The carpet keeps growing higher and higher, and one day it's going to explode. So never, ever, ever slip anything under the carpet. What you need to do is, even if it's not important to you anymore, even if you have seen that his way is actually the correct way, acknowledge that. Just say, you know what, I've thought about it, and actually I think, yeah, it's fine. We can do it your way. You lose nothing from that. You gain a lot from him. You gain a lot. Like you get a big tick. Say, oh wow, she's amazing.
Right.
Because you've just validated him.
I think you better say that again, because that little part that we validated him seems to be overwhelmed by the stuff where we have non-validated in this conversation.
Yeah, because if you come back and you say, oh, I've thought about this and I think actually your ways makes better sense, mm-hmm. He's going to respect you more, love you more, acknowledge you more, connect with you more, because you have just validated him as a person, him as a man. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, with men, usually as a person is also as a man. It's difficult to split the two. But it means a lot to a man to be told they are right, because most of the time they are considered to be wrong.
So, mm-hmm. When they're right, mm-hmm. When you see their viewpoint, it's important to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
And what if they say to you, can I mark this down in the calendar that you're admitting that I'm right today?
That's when you take your human spirit and laugh about it. Yeah, and you just, life is very good when you have a sense of humor. We know this, mm-hmm. right? And mm-hmm. and like I'm always saying, okay, fine, I know I'm wrong. This time I know I'm wrong, but it doesn't happen often, but sometimes it does. And right. You lose nothing from acknowledging that. I think you actually gain, because people see you as more authentic. Because you're not trying to self-serve all the time. You're actually saying, okay, there is room for more people to flourish and mm-hmm. and blossom and be happy around me.
Right. So part of this sounds like, someone's in a really good committed relationship, but if they're still just in the beginning processes of, they've been having fun, right? They've started to identify, yes, these are things I like, and I'm liking it more, and I'm testing the waters. Mm-hmm. If they say, I need time to think about it, right? Or I'm taking a time out here. Is there a protocol on who calls who, or what, how do you know if you're calling them and really it's, like, maybe it's more than that. Maybe the whole reason you had a disagreement was because it's time not to be with them.
Okay. Arguments they serve two purposes when whether you're single or not. Mm-hmm. They serve to clarify what exactly you need to do, mm-hmm. like what the outcome you want to have, the two of you. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is to clarify whether this is the right position for you to be in. So when you have a fight with your boyfriend, mm-hmm. and they say, I need to think about this, and they go, mm-hmm. you need to leave him to think about it. You don't have another choice. Give him the space. Mm-hmm. You don't sit by the phone waiting for him to call. Have fun. Go out. Do something. When he comes back to you, he says, oh, hi, how are you? Like, it didn't bother you at all.
Didn't miss him at all.
Yeah, because then he's going to start thinking, she's off having fun when I'm thinking about her. What's up with that? I might just lose this one if I'm not careful. Let me move my, start moving forward faster because I might lose it.
And then quite the opposite could occur because they're really not that into you, like they say, and
exactly.
It's better to learn that, and so give them the space, right?
Yeah.
And
then some arguments are deal breakers. They are just like, okay, we cannot come back from this.
No.
We can't come back from this because I don't feel good. I don't feel secure. I don't feel myself. I don't feel happy when I'm with this guy anymore. And that argument is always going to be between us. So you also acknowledge that and say, okay, this was too big. This is too much of a gap between us. So maybe it's better he goes his way and I go my way.
And that's okay because we're just out dating, having fun, sorting through and deciding if there's some compatibility and that this is really a blessing in our life and it's adding to our life versus subtracting.
and when you're over 35, usually you're also meeting a man with a lot of baggage. And if he is separated from his wife or divorced or whatever, it's because something drastic or something terrible happened to him. Just like if you are separated from somebody, usually it's because something happened to wake you up or whatever. But that also has a significant impact on this current relationship.
Right.
So if he is used to drama, if he's used to women being full of drama, and then you don't do drama, depending on his addiction to the drama, because some people are addicted to it, he might see you as oh my God, this is amazing. All the drama is gone out of my life. Or there's something wrong with this woman. Why are we not having the same usual dramas that we used to have?
Yeah. And if the thing is if you're aligned with what's true for you in your heart,
yes,
rising to love is about feeling really good about yourself alone first, and then with someone else you're still feeling that good. So if you're not feeling that good or better than when you're by yourself, then that's a sign from my perspective that the universe is gently closing that door, if not firmly, saying, okay, go. Move person.
And one of the most powerful questions you can ever ask yourself is, what's the most loving thing I can do right now? What's the most loving action I can take right now? During an argument, especially. It will shock you, it will terrify you, but it will give you the most amazing outcome ever. Because now you're connecting to your love heart space and you are thinking about the other person, not about winning the argument. You are thinking about loving them and you're asking yourself, what's the most loving thing I can do for myself and for this person?
Right. And so in that loving yourself, in a lot of cases, it might just be, if I'm really loving them, I have to let them go.
Yeah.
And let them be who they want to be because they're just not right for me.
Yeah. And in my case, I stopped myself from lashing out and saying all those painful things I used to say to my poor boyfriend before I knew any better. And I would say, okay, I don't need to do this to win. I don't need to say all these things to hurt him.
Right.
Because my intention is not to hurt him.
Right.
That's not my intention. My intention is for us to move to the next stage or to do something that makes us both happy. So if I say all these things and I force him to do what he doesn't want to do to please me,
right,
that's not good either.
No. Yeah, it all seems so crystal clear now when I look back. I go, yeah, okay. You know what? I did that one on that one. I did that one on that one. Neither one gave me desired results, and ultimately, I think intuitively, I knew neither situation was the right situation, but I was engaged to make them work, for a variety of reasons. And I think that would be something that I would encourage people listening to do, is just check in with yourself and decide, again, is rising to love is the top of the conversation. So are you rising? Are you elevated? Is this relationship exciting you, making you feel better and more than, or not? Because the type of conflict and the disagreement you're having, is it because you're still going to rise to a new level together, or is it because you realize that you're shooting up and he's shooting in a different direction?
Exactly. And also understand that how life means for a man and a woman are two different things. I will give you an example. When we first got married, the one thing we continued to fight about was money. We fought about money all the time. And it's like there was a switch that came into Tara's life that said, right, you're now a man. You have to be responsible. You have to be a father. You have to be a husband. You have to be a whatever. I'm sure somebody talked to him about this. He never told me who did it. Maybe his father. But somebody said, right, now you're a grown man. You have to behave like a man, not like a boy. So you have to save money. You have to look after your wife, make sure it's provided for. And it was so militant and so precise. And I'm like, we're just having fun. Why are we getting all serious? I mean, there's no need to be serious about this. We need to do a budget. And I say, yeah, but we always know what we are buying. Do we need to write it down on a piece of paper? Is that going to change anything? I know I can keep the numbers in my head. I know them. What's the big deal? No, you don't understand. And I'm like, I do understand. And I start thinking, who is this person? Where did they come from? Because he never used to be like that before. And now I understand that his sense of responsibility was overwhelming him. And I know somebody said, now you are a man. You are the provider and the father. And I'm like, I don't need the father. My father is still alive. And even if he wasn't, you are not my dad,
Right.
But it's that. It's also looking at it from that point of view. When I was fighting with him, I didn't have that clarity and understanding. That he has this weight on his shoulders and he's just trying to deal with it in the best way he could. It wasn't great because he was doing it wrongly. Or maybe it wasn't great because I wasn't receiving what he was doing. Right. I was resistant. I was very resistant. So we kept clashing. But now that I know, and people who are listening, you're fortunate. You are meeting people who have an awareness of this. Men don't look at the world the same way women do. And this sense of responsibility they have is overwhelming for them without any support, because he has to be the strong one all the time. You can cry, you can go into bed, you can be weak, you can do whatever. Nobody's going to frown on that. But have you ever seen men who go weakling and they wait for you to wait on them? That's very rare. It's very rare. And we have to acknowledge that.
Right.
Because the pressure for that is huge.
Right.
Yeah.
So in this process of rising to love through disagreements and conflicts, we are really, hey, Nelta. So in other words, it's good to remember that you are not fighting to break up. It's just a disagreement, interpretation of something. Yes, that's exactly correct.
Yeah. And as well, he's not doing it to frustrate you. He's not fighting with you because his intention is to make your life miserable. That's not the intention. And I'm sure your intention is not to make his life miserable either.
No.
And that's just a huge mind shift. When you understand that, okay, we are fighting. We are not fighting to kill each other. 1, we love each other. 2, what's the most loving thing that I can do right now? 3, and his intention is not to hurt me or to frustrate me.
Right. It's not to hurt you. Okay. And so do you see this Nelta's last other comment? She said, so what were you resistant to? Was it resistant to being provided for?
Yes. Because I was so independent. I didn't need a man to provide for me. I was going there, looking for a job and looking for my own money because I didn't want his.
Right.
I wanted my own. And I didn't understand what this whole marriage thing was. I really didn't. I kept wanting to be single in a marriage. And fortunately for me, he wouldn't allow that. He didn't want me to be a single woman living with a man. He wanted us to have a proper marriage. And he would insist on things. And I would think, why do we even need to do that? And for example, he said, okay, I'm going to put you on my medical insurance at work. And I said, why? I'm writing you on my pension and whatever. And I said, why? Why are you doing that?
Right.
And I said, you don't need to do that. Put your mom.
Right. Yeah, okay.
And then he would just say, I don't care what you say. I'm just going to leave it like that. So I didn't have a choice then. And I was like, okay, fine. I don't care. But to me, all those things he was doing were invasions to my sense of independence.
Right.
But he was loving me. That was his way of telling me he loved me and he wanted to provide for me. And all I had to do was receive and say thank you.
Yes. And I think that's very key, is all you had to do is receive and say thank you. Because we got this put on this hat in the 70s, really. Women started to say, I can do anything. You know, the 80s, and I can do anything you can do, and I can do it better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so who needs you, right? And really, we can. You're quite capable, but the objective of the universe is to receive. We were given the body, we were given the world, we're given our heartbeat, we're given the breath. It's about receiving. So if we can't receive from the person that we're in a relationship with, then we're blocking the whole flow of the universe.
We are blocking love from God. We are blocking energy. We are blocking money, which is very important to all of us. We are blocking love itself to come from us to us and to our children and to everybody else who loves us, who's around us. We are blocking all that because we are saying, I don't want to receive because I'm too independent to need a man. Unfortunately, it doesn't just end with a man. It encompasses every part of your life.
Yes, it does. And I just need Nell to explain more. What is she talking about? It's such a crazy suggestion. We only have awesome suggestions here. So what is she talking about being a crazy suggestion? Nell, you need to make yourself clear now.
Be clear. We don't know what you're talking about.
Don't know what you're talking about. Come on, we're going to have a disagreement right here, Nelta. And then but the idea of rising to love is being love, receiving love, and giving love.
Yes.
Regardless of the situation, whether we call it a conflict, a disagreement, or we're just negotiating a compromise.
And you can have a loving argument whereby you understand we are not seeing eye to eye on this. We're trying to find middle ground. And sometimes I say, okay, fine, your way, I don't like it. My way, you don't like it. Let's find a third way. Yeah. There's always another way.
Right.
So we can take the best bits of this and the best bits of that and make a new recipe and do that.
Right.
Yeah, and both of you feel happy.
Okay, so suggesting he put his mom on his pension. Okay, that was from your sister. Oh, really? Okay.
I'm acknowledging that I was wrong. I was clueless. Nobody ever taught me about these things. That's why I'm so passionate about it. That's why I teach people about it. Because if there was a school we all needed to go to, it's how to make our relationships more loving and more caring. Really?
Yeah. There is yeah. You need to put in 3 things again, the top 3 things that people need to work on, because and finish off this Rising to Love with a flame.
Okay. Work on loving yourself,
Okay.
loving each other, and receiving love. That's what you need to work on.
So just everybody just open up right now just quickly and get that. Okay? One, loving yourself.
Self. And loving each other.
Loving each other.
And receiving. Receiving is very important.
And receiving love. So I would suggest that with every breath you remember to take between now and next week, just imagine you're inhaling and receiving more love. And see with breath, if you're filling up with love all the time, you've got to be a really new loving being next week when you meet with us, and you will have completely, just like bread rises, you will have risen.
Yes, you will have. Definitely. You'll be at another level.
Okay, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much. Enjoyed this, really. Thank you.
See you next
Appreciate you. See you next week.